How many times have you ever heard someone say, "It's not what you say, it's how you say it"? Let's take a deep dive into affirmations. Hello, hello, hello. You are listening to or watching the Manifest on Purpose show. I am your host, Kimberly. I am here to inspire you to raise your level of consciousness. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for all of those you invite, and thank you for subscribing here and on the website at Kimberly, KIMBALEY.com. And you know how I feel about you. The God in me loves the God in you. Today, we're going to talk about affirmations. We're going to talk about the building blocks of affirmations because there may be a better way of you creating affirmations to change your life. We're going to make sure that foundationally you know how to create an affirmation that gets results. But before we get into that, let's hear our astronumerology report, and that is brought to you by astronumerologist Lloyd Strayhorn and the Star 8 mobile numerology app. It is Wednesday, October the 23rd. The sun is in Scorpio. The moon is in Cancer. It's a 9 universal month, a 4 universal week, a 5 universal day. If your desire is to bring about a meaningful and significant change regarding your life and affair, this is the perfect day to do so without a thought of hesitation, only because opportunities can be fleeting and you must be ready. So when it does, you can grab your share of the action. Also, take advantage of this day to widen your contacts by getting with those, as the saying goes, who knows someone who knows someone. It will take you to the next step in a faster and far less challenging way. This seems the case today if you happen to be born under the zodiac signs of Gemini, Virgo, in a minor way Aquarius, and those born on the 5th, 15th, and 23rd of any month. Once again, that is our astronumerology forecast for today. And that is brought to you by astronumerologist Lloyd Strayhorn. Now, I know you're wondering, how can you get this app for yourself? You can get this app by going to a star 8, ASTAR, the number 8.com. You can also download it on Google Play, the App Store, and you can go to linktr.ee/numbersanyou, where you can get his other exclusive products and services, such as the Numbers You and Beyond workshop. And this workshop is for all of those who desire to learn astronumerology as a career, and only the serious must apply. And you can apply at numbersanyou podcast@gmail.com. We are entering into the year of the nine. This is going to be a very transformative year, and I want you to get your ducks in a row. I want you to have things in order and in place to help you navigate throughout the 2025 year. And you can do that by getting your astronumerology forecast at kimberly.com, KIMBALEY. You'll get a forecast rest of your 2025. It's going to be a peek into it, and not just a peek, it's going to be a deep dive. It's going to tell you what you can expect for the year, month by month in 2025. I suggest that you use this to help you navigate throughout that year. For a limited time, you'll get the rest of October, you'll get November, and you'll get December along with your 2025 forecast. You can also get a personal report or compatibility report. And please don't hesitate to contact Kimberly for your in depth astronumerology consultation. Speaking of 2025, you are invited to the Vision Board Mastery. It's going down on Wednesday, January the 1st of 2025. This workshop will be all about manifesting 2025 on purpose. Listen to what you'll get when you're in this workshop. You'll learn the power of visualization. You will learn creative visualization tips. You will learn how to create a vision board, and you will create your own vision board. This will be an interactive workshop where you'll get to share your vision for 2025 with others so that you can speak it into existence. And we're going to conclude with the guided visualization technique to help you plant the seeds of 2025. Sign up for the workshop by clicking on the QR code that's in the bottom of the screen. You can also go to kimberly.com. In today's conversation, I'm going to do no different than what I've been doing all of my life. I'm going to be talking about grandma. I have to tell you about grandma. She was something else. Let me give you a little backstory before I jump right into the story about my grandmother. First of all, I grew up in an area that had a different dialect from everybody else. I was from what most people call the South. And what they call the South or the country is in the southeastern part of the United States. These places have their own distinct dialects and even phrases that they use when they speak to people. And it's sort of kind of like when you're from a different country altogether. Sometimes, if you're not used to the way the people in that area talk, then you may not understand some of the things that were said. Let me just clear it up. Not all people from that area are like that, but especially the elder people, those that have been around for a long time, you will be able to pick some of those things up in them. So now let's jump into my grandmother. Now, my grandmother was no different. And as I said, we're talking about most of the elderly people that have problems with the language. And with my grandmother, you couldn't tell her she had any problems about speaking. She was very confident about speaking, and she spoke in a proper way. But the funny thing about grandmother is sometimes you did not understand some of the phrases she said, and you didn't understand some of the words she said. So if grandmother is describing something and she can't find a word to describe it, then she'll make one up. And she doesn't think that we know she made these words up. And I don't know if she did this intentionally, or I don't know if that was just, how she was wired. But anyway, let me give you an example of this. I was very close to my grandmother. Let me just put that out there. And I stayed with her, and she really played a huge role in raising me. So we were really close. My children were close to her as well. When my children were young, we were always over there. And my children used to have fun with my grandmother also. So they like to see grandma take her pills because she would do it in a way that was so funny to them. I don't know why it was so hilarious to them, but they would just love to see her take her medicine. And so one day she was taking her medicine, and of course, they were watching, they were paying attention. And so my grandmother threw the pills in her mouth, and she reached for her water, and she took a few sips, and she just clutched her throat like this. We were like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And she took a hard swallow, and she said, "I just couldn't get those pills to duplicate down my throat." And the children just fell out laughing. And I kind of looked at my cousin, who kind of looked back at me, and we thought, "Okay, grandma." And that's why I say I'm talking about her like I've always talked about her, because this became like the running family joke. We would always collect those things. They were like memories. Those times that grandma would make those funny words or phrases up, and we would sit around and have fun just laughing at her and teasing her in that way. We didn't mean anything bad by it, but it became like a funny memory to us. And to be honest with you, when she passed away, that's one of the things that I feel like helped my family get through that, because that's what we did. We laughed the entire time, and it wasn't laughing in the sense of, "Oh, we're picking on you," or anything like that. We were just having fun with grandma. And there's still some things today that I question myself, like, what did that statement mean? What was she trying to say? But when I look at it, it's a message there. It is so difficult getting something through to someone that does not understand what you're trying to say. Help me with this example. What if you were on a job working and you had coworkers there to help you, but your coworkers don't understand your language? You tell them what you need to do, but they can't understand it. It may be a job that you have to do yourself if that person is unable to understand what you're trying to say, or if you're unable to communicate to that person in a way that gets through to them. That works for all of us. And just like we have our very own style of communication and our very own language, so does the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind doesn't understand our language. Just think about it. We have so many dialects. We have so many definitions for so many words. We have so many different languages. And when we think about Madam Subconscious, we know that the number one thing Madam Subconscious does is to make life easier. Instead of trying to translate all of this stuff in our language, the subconscious mind has a universal language. That universal language includes signs, symbols, energy, your feelings. It has nothing to do with what you say. You can talk as much as you want to the subconscious mind, but just know that when you speak to the subconscious mind, it takes everything literal. It really doesn't have time to do any guesswork. And a lot of times that's what it seems like unknowingly that a lot of us do when it comes to the information that we are suggesting to our subconscious mind. One of the rules of the subconscious is, as I already mentioned, it takes everything literally. It does not take a joke. So if you're out somewhere and you have this little joke about yourself, and you know your friends would probably understand it because they feel like they don't really believe that you feel that way about yourself, but your subconscious mind is going to accept that as truth. Whatever goes into your subconscious mind, it means that your subconscious has accepted it as truth. So it's important for you to know that you have to be careful with what you say. And the reason why this conversation even comes up is because a lot of people use the technique of positive affirmations. And I've heard some people say that positive affirmations does not work for them. And over the years, through my research, I found out that a lot of times positive affirmations does not work, not because it's not a great technique, but because the technique is sometimes not used properly. Today, I'm going to give you the foundation of a great affirmation that will work for you. To start out the foundation, the very first thing that you need to know about creating your affirmation is your affirmation should reflect what you really desire. This is that thing that you really want to take place in your reality at this given moment. That's what your affirmation should reflect. And because it's something that you desire, you want this to be as positive as it can be. So make sure that you're throwing in that positivity in there and make sure that it's reflecting what you really want, which leads into the next step. The next part of the foundation is by making sure that that desire that you're asking for is in the present moment. It's happening right now. If you use the following affirmation, I will be rich. That's an ineffective affirmation. However, if you use I am rich, that's how you word it in the present moment. And that's how you want to view your desire. You want to view your desire as if it's already happening now, not like something that's going to happen in the future. Because when you say it's something that happens in the future, that means you don't care if it comes 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now. And I will also suggest, just like setting intentions, you should be specific here if possible. So instead of saying, I am rich, put a dollar amount on it. I am rich because I have XYZ in the bank. Really, what this is acting as if, because the important thing that you should also know about the subconscious mind is the subconscious mind has no clue if you're making this up or not. The subconscious mind cannot tell the difference from your imagination and your reality. So the impression that you want to create on the subconscious mind is that it is already here. And because it is already here, the universe will release everything that you said is your reality. And keep in mind, this is whether that thing is good, bad, or indifferent. So pay attention to that. In the next part of the foundation, I'm asking you to put some emotion into it, put some feeling into it, put some passion, love, excitement in it, because these things stand out to the subconscious mind because it makes the image that you are creating. Because let's not get it twisted. I know an affirmation is something that you speak, but just know that everything you speak, you create a mental picture for it. So when you are creating this affirmation and you are speaking it into existence, Make sure that you are using the emotions as much as you can, and make sure they're the strong emotions like love and excitement, bliss, those type of things. Seeing the video in your mind of your affirmation while you're all excited that this is your new reality, it's going to trigger the subconscious mind because, see, there's a filter, the RAS, which is called the reticular activating system. And the responsibility of this system is to act as a filter. It regulates what moves on to become a subconscious program. So, in order to get past that filter, you have to make the subconscious mind believe that what you are saying, what you are visualizing is your actual reality. And when you throw your emotions in there, chances are it's more likely to pass through. And the very last tip of the foundation is repetition, repetition, repetition. Madam Subconscious loves repetition. When you continue to do things over and over again, including that present tense feel and those emotions that are powerful, these things have a better chance of penetrating the subconscious mind and becoming a program. Once the same stuff, the same mental picture, the same emotions, the same desires, the same words keep coming up over and over again, the subconscious mind feels like this is important. This should take priority at this time. So you need to practice in repetition. Some people say, I just do it in the morning. Some people say, I just do it before bed. But why not step your game up, especially if you haven't gotten the things that you desire in your current reality yet? It takes nothing for you to say your affirmation. You can say your affirmation throughout the day. Repetition, just think about how powerful repetition is. Prayer, they say, is something that you should repeat over and over again. In school, rote learning, you're hearing the same thing over and over again. So it does not hurt to say your affirmations too much, but just make sure that there is some repetition there, because along with the other things that I've talked about today, this will help activate your subconscious mind, and it will help create the programs of your affirmation. You know, if grandma was here today, I probably would sit down and have this conversation with her. I let her know that we meant no harm by the teasing that we did all those years ago. And I also let her know it's not what you say, it's how you say it. I know you're not watching the Manifest on Purpose show and not using affirmations. Affirmations is one of the quickest tools in the manifestation toolbox. I feel like personally, everyone should be using affirmations. But there's a right and a wrong way to create an affirmation. Today, I went over some of that foundation with you. Number one, your affirmation must reflect your desired reality. Number two, it has to be in the present tense. Number three, it has to include your emotions, the most powerful emotions. This makes it more believable for your subconscious mind. Last but not least, number 4, repetition, repetition, repetition. You should be doing it over and over again. We don't have to worry about whether the subconscious mind understands our language because now you know. Make sure you use symbols, emotions, imagery, and the spoken word. I wish you all the best with your affirmations. I love you to life. This is how you manifest on purpose.